A new government policy on school discipline could soon come into effect. Government studies found that students of color and those with disabilities are punished disproportionately more compared to white students, and Black boys in particular are punished at the highest rates. The Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights says that this is evidence of discrimination and has created a set of guidelines to fix the problem. The fix issues race-based quotas for how much punishment can be handed down by teachers. Actually, the proposal isn't new. It was first introduced by the Obama administration, and it was rescinded under Trump, and now it's back. The public commenting period has now closed, and while most parents probably haven't heard about this, our next guest has been tracking it closely, and she worries about how it will impact life in the classroom. Donna Jackson is with us now. She's on the advisory board of Project 21 Black Leadership Network. Project 21 is opposed to the guidelines for non-discriminatory administration of school discipline. And Donna is here to explain what it is all about. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So can you start by explaining for us what exactly the proposed guidelines for school discipline are? What would change from how we presently do things?
Well, the policy that's being put forth now is about adding a racial quota to discipline in the classroom. It's basically a K through 12 defund the police. So discipline in the classroom can only be based upon a quantity of the number of students by race that can be disciplined. And, to give an example of that, they're saying that African Americans have been disciplined at a greater rate than white students, and that's only because of racism, systematic racism, not because of the behavior in that classroom. This is very destructive, because it takes away the ability of the teacher to have control over the classroom so that the other children can be able to get a quality education. And that's not fair.
So do you expect that teachers would be there keeping some sort of score based on the race of their student body?
They actually will specify the number. And, it's really disheartening because the impact study that they're using didn't take into consideration the number of gun violence, gangs, fights, drugs in a community, and it only says that African Americans are being disciplined because of their color. And it says that white students are equally as bad. And so what they want to do is to punish African American students, irregardless of their misbehavior, less, and punish white students more, irregardless of the fact that they may have done nothing wrong.
So teachers in schools are going to have quotas they have to meet. What if they're under quota? What if they're not meting out enough punishment?
If they're under quota, they have to punish more. If they're over quota, they have to punish less. So what you have is classrooms where the teachers have no control over the classrooms because they basically will have their hands tied. They can't administer any punishment even if the classroom is chaotic. And that's what you'll see in a lot of these cases. In defund the police, they said that if we get rid of the police, crime will go down, because the only reason why we had crime is because the police present. But we see the reverse of that happening. It's more crime because of defunding the police. And you're going to see the same parallel in classrooms where teachers are going to be branded as racist because they're trying to make sure that their other students can get a quality education. And that's just wrong.
I'll just read some of the numbers. Black students are currently 15% of the student body and 29% of referrals to law enforcement in schools. And white students are 47% of the student body and represent 38% of referrals to law enforcement.
The problem really is the breakdown of the family in Black communities. Liberals put through a lot of policies that actually broke up two-parent households. 70% of African American families today are headed by single parent households. So you have a lot of children, unfortunately, that are raising themselves. So, of course, there's going to be discipline issues. Now, in a lot of school settings, the only time these children get discipline and guidelines is when they're in the classroom. But now the Biden administration is saying, no, we shouldn't have that. Allow these kids to do whatever they want, because there's a difference between the discipline and punishment of African American kids versus white kids. If you notice, there's a direct correlation. If you look at Asian Americans, 85% of Asian American families are two-parent household. They also have the highest education level, highest income level. 70% of white Americans have two-parent household, and they're ranked number 2. There's a direct correlation because only 30% of Black households have two-parent households. And that's why you're seeing a lot of the discipline issues that we have. Let's reverse a lot of these social policies that have encouraged and actually had the unintentional effect of destroying Black two-parent households. And then you don't have to worry about the discipline problems you have in school, because that will correct itself. But they don't want to, because poverty is big business.
So what is the trajectory of this rule? I saw that submissions are now closed, and they had 560,000 comments submitted, which sounds like a lot. I tried to read through them, but it doesn't give you a title or any indication of what's inside or who sent in. All you have to download each one. So I don't know if you've spent more time reading comments. Do you have some sense of what the public input is on this?
I think that it's about split 50-50. But I'll tell you that the commission and the Biden administration is set on this critical race theory narrative that they have to punish white Americans, and this is just another way that they're trying to do it. Critical race theory, I always like to point out the fact that there's 4 basic principles. 1, it says that racism is normal. That means everything is racist. 2, white people are born evil and they're irredeemable. 3, it says objectivity, any laws, guidance are for the sole purpose of creating more racism. And 4, the family is the way, the two-parent family structure is the way that racism is passed down. So every guideline that you see happening is to dismantle and to make sure that narrative, that they destroy from within our country those tenements and further that narrative. So it's not surprising at all that they want to punish more white kids, irregardless if they've done anything wrong.
Be sure to watch the entire episode, now available exclusively at EpochTV.com, a new completely censorship-free premium subscription platform. Brought to you by the Epoch Times. See you there.